Welcome to TS Little Reacts. Thank you for joining me. We're going to have a good one today. Oh my goodness, is this world demonic or what? Please, before we get started, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, check in with the notifications. It'll help me out to grow this channel, and I really appreciate you joining me today. Let's get into it.
See, y'all don't understand how to leave the supernatural world alone. So now they're saying that you're going to need a priest to bless you before you go see the new Conjuring movie. And that should tell you everything you need to know right there. But I guarantee that millions of people are going to go sit their ass in that movie theater. You see the results when people play with these spirits. Let's talk about everything that we seen that happened with the Annabelle doll. From the fires, from people losing their life, to a whole lot of crazy supernatural shit. Then let's talk about Ed and Lorraine. Every single time one of these Conjuring movies come out, something crazy happens. Now they're giving you a warning not to go see this movie unless you're blessed by a priest. And that should tell you everything you want to know. But guess what? People love dancing with the devil. This is going to be the final movie. This is going to be the end of their series. And this is also going to be a movie that is going to corrupt souls all over the world. I wish all of y'all luck, because apparently the proof isn't enough for you. But apparently you guys want to be the topic of the next supernatural discussion. Go ahead. When it's your time, it's your time. And you can't hide from it. I'm out.
Okay, boss. When are people going to learn to stop playing with stuff, especially stuff that they don't know anything about? We live in a world that's already freaking weird, and we know, you know, that if you mess with something like that Ouija board thing, you don't know what you're going to get. So if they are clearly telling you that you go to the movies and something might happen to you, it's time to turn around and go right back out the door. Don't mess with stuff you don't know anything about. You don't know what you're going to bring home. That's why you don't bring antiques home from a thrift store or whatnot. You don't know what kind of energy came from that and that you bring it into your house. No, if they got to put some hands on you and throw some holy water at you before you can go into a closed room where just probably all kind of negative energy just swirling all around, that means turn around and get out of here. Get out. Stay out of Dodge. You don't want no parts of that nonsense. Read the Bible. Go to the Word. Want to see something? See a miracle. Don't see nothing stupid. Because once it's on you, you don't know how to get it off. Let's get back to the video.
Bro, I'm just angry. I don't get how the wicked can live, how they live. And I have to struggle. And I've been trying my hardest to move with a pure heart, pure mind, pure intentions. And I've been struggling all my life. It's so unfair to me that I have to be broken to be close to God. Make it make sense.
So this video came on my timeline and broke my heart. He's basically saying the wicked have good lives. They're rich, they have what they want, they can buy what they want. But I want to say this, brothers and sisters. Just because you see people on camera flaunting money, flaunting things, boasting in themselves, it doesn't mean that they're happy in private. In all actuality, they're chasing a void. That's why they keep doing those things, so that void could be fulfilled. But it's only filled temporarily. You, my brother, have eternal life. Don't fall into the wicked one's trap, making you feel like you don't have enough, when in all actuality, you have everything. You have what they're searching for. You have true gold. You have true wisdom. You have spiritual liberty. These different individuals are in bondage. They're in chains spiritually. That's why a lot of different people who are completely rich will take their own life, because they don't understand why the void in them still isn't fulfilled. Let me give you some scripture. James 1:12. Blessed is the man who perseveres under trial, because when he has stood the test, he will receive the crown of life that God has promised to those who love him. So there's going to be a trial. There's going to be a test. There's going to be temptation. But what do? Let me show you. Matthew 24:13. But he who endures to the end shall be saved. So we endure to the end, my brothers and sisters. No matter how big the storm, always understand that the Lord is walking on water right there, and you can walk on water too, as long as you stay focused on him. Don't allow what you see in person to strike you. Understand who you have and who is within you. When you start paying too much attention on the outside, you start forgetting what's on the inside. God is with you, my brother. God.
want to tap into some stuff, get up at 4.
Pause on that. Everybody has a story. Everybody has their own trials and tribulations. Personal note, I lost my corporate job in January. That's why I'm doing this. It's a brand new lifestyle for me. I'm putting myself out there. And I feel good about this. This is on my terms. But everybody has a story. When I was working, I thought I had everything. I mean, to the point where when my paycheck was on its way, I started shopping on Wednesday. The paycheck was on Friday. I started shopping on Wednesday. But I just couldn't get enough. I couldn't get enough. I wanted everything. I needed everything. I was not going to stop doing that until I was forced to stop doing that. When I lost my job, I feel like that was the opportunity for me to get back to reality. Number one, knowing that I don't need all that stuff. I mean, just think, you buy all the clothes in the world. You're going to be set for all the way through spring. And could not wear not one piece of those clothes because you had nowhere to go any day of the week. It's not new no more. It means nothing. I couldn't take it back. I could sell it, but who wants to buy my size? You know what I'm saying? Who wants to buy my style? First off, I'm told that I'm a very strange style of clothes. If I wasn't wearing a t-shirt and some shorts right now, you know what I would wear out of the house or to work. Nobody else would dress like that, and I get it. So my point is, I didn't need any of that stuff. What I needed to do was what I've been doing these past few months, getting on my knees and praying. Something that I was thinking I would never do. I got bad knees. Oh, I'm not getting down on the ground. It's dirty. Da, da, da. I have humbled myself, and I talk to God differently now. I pray differently now. I think differently now. I've realized that what is important versus what I thought was important. You know, we got to get back to the Bible, to God, give it all to God, and stop being so self-involved. I was not going to learn that until this happened. I'm not going to say I ain't pissed that I lost my gig, but I am going to say that I'm more focused now, and I do think differently. And I'm thankful to God that God has sustained me throughout this trial. I have lost some things that are very dear to me. My business that I do own, I believe that I am losing the location that I was once in very heavily. I believe that during this time, this may be the opportunity that I have to let it go. It's very painful, but it's real. God is real. And I say through this, and I think about it all the time, these are the moments that God is carrying me. Because up until this day, I have been able to pay that rent every month since January with only $2.34 in my bank account that's been there steady. Somehow I was able to obtain the rent money for my location all the way up until today. Today I don't have it. I wish I did, because my heart is broken. But God is going to fix it. Back to the video, because I'm about to cry, y'all. So let's get back to the video and think about something else.
And that's when you're most creative. So even if you got some problems and you're trying to figure some shit out and you need some kind of thing, get up at 4 o'clock and think about it. And you'll tap into it and bring you all the shit you need.
Commented the other day saying that they want a 3-day work week and having 4 days off. There are some jobs that do it, like healthcare professionals. They work 36 hours per week full time, and then they have 4 days off at the expense of sometimes working nights. I love this concept is it reverses the psychology. Right now, a lot of people are working 5 days a week, hating every single day to only live for those 2 days. Now, if we reverse that and you're only working for 3 days, you're living for the other 4. I think that this would be a very productive move. I think that we would see this statistic of 80% of people feeling burnt out from their 9 to 5. I think that would start flipping the opposite way, and 80% of people might start enjoying their lives a little bit more and start reducing that chronic stress and actually having a happier, healthier life.
You know those dogs that they train them to push the buttons to be able to speak to their owners?
Yes, yes.
Outside, hungry. This person has over 50 buttons.
It's like a plastic thing.
And and the dogs touch it. But this dog, people are this dog is becoming self-aware.
Yeah.
Almost to where there's a human stuck inside this dog.
Oh no, that's scary.
Because this dog is saying now the dog is apparently on antidepressant pills, a Great Depression. This dog is suffering with. And it's doing it clicks buttons who am I? The lady's you're Bunny.
Why is that button a thing?
I think
Bunny's her name.
Yeah, the dog's name is Bunny, and they're no, you're Bunny, and the dog would go over to the mirror and just look at it,
itself.
and then it goes over and clicks button help,
Oh no!
And then it's like sad, literally communicating like I'm stuck in this dog body
Yeah,
and I'm
yeah.
fully aware.
That's
It's
terrifying.
terrifying.
That's so scary. Could you imagine like that? Like, I don't believe in reincarnation, but imagine if that was a possibility. If like there was like some type of punishment that this person had endured.
Y'all,
All right, I'm gonna pause on that. I think I do believe in reincarnation. There's lots of YouTube videos where little kids say, "But my name is so and so, and I have 3 kids." First off, you're 3 years old and you talking in full sentences, talking about 3 kids, and you giving names and streets and addresses and cities and locations and telling how you passed away. Where else would they get that from if they didn't already know it? So there must be something. And I do believe, from a person who has had many dogs up until I probably not had just 1 dog in the house for a very long time, but there was a time where I had 5 dogs in the house. 4 of them were mine, and the other was my mom's. But I do believe that dogs have personalities. I do believe that dogs think on their own and think freely. I do believe that dogs, when they have a special friend, somebody another dog that they look forward to seeing and they spend their time with, if that dog passes on, and I've seen it with my own eyes, they go through depression. And I mean, I actually had a dog that stopped communicating with me because he was one of the 5, and all the other 4, they were up in age. My dogs lasted a good long time. He was 16 when he passed, and he was a Chihuahua. That dog stopped communicating with me after my daughter passed away. So 4 dogs and my daughter, the dog never looked at me again. And the dog lasted a good 4 or 5 years after. So maybe 6 years after my daughter passed. And I was like, what? Why are you mad at me? I didn't do it. But it's like he saw each dog being carried out of the building in a pillowcase and in a box. And then my daughter, one day, she walked out the door and never came back. And the dog stopped communicating with me. I guess I was the common denominator. They think. And I mean, if you train them, and they don't just have free thinking, but you actually train them, they have a way of communicating with you. So if they realize that the green button or whatever the button with the word, I don't know, maybe they memorize the space on the mat. It's possible. I say to my dog, a big giant dog, a really little bitty dog, and they are in love. I mean, they put their heads together and snuggle and lay on him. That's weird. Anyway, I say to my dog sleeps in my bed, giant dog. I can't even tell you how much she weighs. I tell her name is Rose Spot. And that means get up off my covers and go down to the spot of the bed that's yours. Get back away from me, because the dog trying to scoot up me next to me. No, you can lay down at the bottom. I do not want you that close. First off, I can't move if you're on top of me, because you weigh probably as much as me. We need to get that child weighed. But they think, they know, and they defy. And apparently they get attitudes and never speak to you again. Rest in peace, Muggsy, Poppy, Benji, Rusty, and Kobe, and the dogs from before you, but you were a part of the 5. Rest in peace. I miss you so much. I love you guys. You're my boys. All right, back to the video.
what the fuck is going on with The Rock, Dwayne Johnson? When you're looking at this picture, the first thing that comes to your mind is like, it's AI, right? Or this man look like a wax figure. But nah, y'all, this is a real picture. I'll show y'all the video. Y'all, this is really real. Look at him. Do that look like The Rock to you? I understand that he's 52, 53 years old. I get it. Everybody ages. But bruh, he was just like 200 and something pounds. Right here, he looked like he a buck 190. Y'all, this was not too long ago. Look how big he was. Now look right here. Is he sick? I'm hearing they said this man lost over 100 pounds, y'all. He really went from this to this. Why would this man lose 100 pounds? What the fuck? I could see 50 or something, but 100? That's why this man looking sick like this? I'm not used to seeing this, y'all. My boy Strange Zone pointed it out to me, and I was just like, what the fuck? I've been seeing this man since WWE, WWF. And now I'm like, what the F?
In the last 8 months.
All right. Now, The Rock, to me, you don't look no different than what Miley Cyrus is doing. And what's the other girl? Ariana Grande. It seems like they're on some kind of weird Hollywood diet or something. And they are maybe making a trend of looking like a skeleton. Who knows? That's weird. I was taking a diabetic medicine, not the one that starts with an O, but probably a generic form of it. I have no idea. But I was losing too much weight. My clothes was falling off. I'd stopped taking it. I'm comfortable with my fat face. But when my face was like, I was not comfortable, and I could barely move. I was suffering from diabetes. I did not know. I just thought as you got older, you get fat. That's just my thought. And I think people that are too skinny are just way too skinny. I believe if this dude lost 100 pounds that quickly, he has to be taking some kind of medication. Some kind of medication. And it also makes me think, back in the 90s, there was a trend of people shaving their eyebrows off to be a line. I'm watching this show called Third Watch, and it's based on late 90s, early 2000s. And even Nia Long, she's beautiful, but she had that line eyebrow thing. It's weird looking. The other co-star, I can't remember her name. She's new to me. I never saw this Third Watch show until now. It's like the eyebrow was up under the bridge part. So it looked like she don't have any eyebrows at all. You just see forehead and eye holes. Yeah. So trends are trends. Not too cute. You know, everything ain't for everybody. The Rock was beautiful. Go back to the, you know, he was eating healthy and all that stuff. Maybe he does have a health problem. It's possible. We hope not. But if he's just doing it for cosmetics, all right, back to the video. I'm sorry.
Atlanta alone have reported 20,000 HIV cases. I don't know how many times I can say this, but I'm going to say it every day if I have to. You need to keep your legs closed. I don't know what the hell is going on, but sex is not one of them things that you need to be doing. It's not worth dying for. And I don't care how good the medication is now. I don't care that it is now not a automatic death sentence like that as it used to be. I don't care. Keep your legs closed. 20,000 cases in the last 8 months in Atlanta. Is it worth? I wish I would even go to some people that have contracted it. To be truthfully honest with you, all of them happen to be men. It's not worth your life. Protect yourself. Leave it alone. Go get tested together. Know your status. Take PrEP.
In a world where 81 billionaires share more wealth than 50% of the population, the poor sell their blood so that they can eat, so their children can eat, or in this mom's case, so that she can buy her children school supplies. This is no shame against this mom. She is literally doing what she can do to provide for her kids. Let's just start off with some basic facts. Did you know that your plasma is actually a golden color? It's not red. Perhaps that's where the saying liquid gold comes from. And plasma cannot be artificially produced, meaning it relies on donors. The internet will say it primarily relies on donors, but if we're following the law here, plasma should rely solely on donors. Just think about it. If plasma cannot be artificially produced, where else would it be coming from other than by donation? This makes plasma metaphorically akin to gold in terms of scarcity. There is a huge myth that has existed for a long time, and that myth is that people are selling their plasma for the warm and fuzzy feeling of helping a faceless stranger that just so happens to be in need of life-saving medical care that requires plasma. When in reality, the majority of people selling their plasma are in situations similar to this mama bear. They need to take care of their family, they need money, or they need to take care of themselves, they need rent, they're gonna get evicted. Whatever it might be, it's because they need money. Therefore, people are selling their life force, their life essence, their liquid gold for money. And not very much if you think about it. But they have to survive. So it's safe to say that the human plasma industry literally depends on the existence of a large group of people who are desperate for cash. Did you know that plasma centers consider the presence of non-bank lenders, think payday loans, when choosing a location to open up a new donation center? Yeah, they want to be in an area where people are getting payday loans, meaning they are already struggling to make their month-to-month bills work. Human blood plasma, the human life force, has historically been collected disproportionately in our country's poorest communities. Why? Because it's a way for Americans to survive the current low wages and extremely high cost of living. And for some, it's quite literally the only source of income that they can rely on during a spell of poverty. But before modern medicine came around, blood was viewed as our life force, to have soul essence. And that's where, in a lot of ancient traditions, we have blood rituals that come about. During the Roman Empire, the Roman doctors told the common people that consuming blood of young gladiators that had been unalived would keep them youthful and fight off diseases and illnesses. So people would just wait and gather around during these times that gladiators were fighting and then just get a cup of that red juice. And then when it was outlawed in the Roman Empire, people were fiending for it. So they would then go to prisoners, criminals that were being deleted from the earth, to consume that red juice. There's little to no current research on what long-term effects of donating your plasma does, but you're quite literally draining your life force, so I would assume not great. I'll leave you with this. If the medical industry is so concerned with the health and well-being of others that they need all of this plasma, maybe we should start by focusing on the health and well-being of the donor themselves.
Are you all seeing?
That's a lot to unpack. Just to let you know, during this drought, financial drought that I'm in, I have considered it multiple times, donating my plasma. I have made the appointment no less than 3 times, but each time I chicken out. A former associate of mine does it on a regular basis to make ends meet. I can't see myself doing it. There's just certain things that I'll get this close and I'm like, oh, I can't. Something just pulls me back from doing it. So, plus I got the diabetes. So I don't know if it's gonna mess me up, because when you start getting them symptoms, you do not want to play with anything. You want to be healthy. You want to feel better. But dang it, back to the video.
What's happening at Burning Man and also Arizona? Idols are being burnt down. This gets deep because Burning Man is quite literally going back to human size. Look at this massive dust storm that's hitting Arizona and obviously Burning Man in Nevada. Now let me ask you this, is there any possible coincidence to the fact that this is happening to Burning Man, but also Tomorrowland also burnt down a few months ago? Now this video is not about Tomorrowland. You can go back and watch the video I did on this, showing y'all just how demonic it is, what's in their stage, and also what's coming out the smoke. And fast forward to now, we're having a huge dust storm at Burning Man. Also, I believe 2 years ago, there was another massive storm where people were stranded and could not even leave. I wonder why all this chaotic stuff happens to Burning Man. I'm about to show you how Burning Man is an idol. Not just an idol.
Oh my god. I don't even know what to say. The guys are like screaming outside. Covered. Things are flying around. It sounds like a zombie apocalypse.
So y'all are basically saying it sounds chaotic, right? I'd like y'all to meet
You've said that the devil runs Hollywood.
I did say that.
Yes. You still believe it?
Well, let me ask you a question.
Okay.
Didn't we just have Christmas?
Yes.
What were the films that premiered for Christmas? Name the titles you can think of now.
Let me see. There was Carry On.
Right.
Which had a Christmas backdrop to it.
Right.
But I can't really think of any actual Christmas
and then you
films.
Had Nicole Kidman's film came out.
Oh, did it? Okay.
Yeah. With Baby Girl, I think it's called.
Okay, yeah, I
not
missed
a
that
Christmas movie.
No.
It's not a Christmas
No,
movie.
you're not really seeing Christmas movies right now.
Not really seeing... and then
There's no
Nostradamus.
Grinch,
What is that?
there's no,
Nostradamus. Whatever.
yeah.
I can't even say it. It's so evil. How do you say that? Is that the vampire movie?
Yeah.
Which, if you look at the marketing for the new Christmas vampire movie, Vlad, see where I'm going with this, guys? See the new
movie,
Christmas vampire movie? If you look at the advertising for that, it doesn't say devil. It doesn't say, this. It never says, it says, darkness. And, the principalities of darkness. And, so to answer your question, if you really want to open this can of spiritual worms, Vlad.
Let's open it.
The rating system in Hollywood is what it is. So you have G, PG, PG-13, NC-17, rated R, all of that, right?
Yeah.
Which one of all those ratings, Vlad, is the most profitable?
G.
G, correct.
Yeah.
What percentage of G films are made every year?
30%.
Something like that.
Yep.
I ask you, Vlad, who runs Hollywood? Why would the highest profitable rating be only 30%? What are they making in that other 70%?
Yeah. Well, but
Vlad?
you can't just make kids movies and that's it.
I agree.
Right? If you're a major studio, you can't just have 90% of your films be G-rated films.
Right.
And what was it? Is it MGM? It's art for art's sake. I think there's a certain level of creativity that the film companies want to do.
Right.
Harvey Weinstein, I thought, was really good at that when he looked at films like The Help and so forth. I don't think he looked at that film as, this is going to be the biggest blockbuster. I'm sure he didn't think it was going to be bigger than Lord of the Rings, but it was a very creative film.
Right.
And it did well, and it won Oscars and so forth.
Right.
So I think that's why they don't just do 80, 90% G-rated films, even though they make a lot of money. That's what I think.
I disagree completely.
Okay.
I disagree completely.
And why is that?
Well, just because if you're any one of these fat cats running stuff, it's all about the money. But like Amazon just bought MGM, bro. Like that.
The whole back catalog.
Like that.
Yeah.
Bezos just went, buy it. I don't care what it costs. I want it. And now, just like Whole Foods, he's going to switch the legendary MGM to Amazon. And then he's going to plug that in to Whole Foods.
Right.
And then he's...
Well, to be fair, Jeff Bezos is not part of Amazon anymore.
But bro,
he has retired.
My point is...
But, his fingerprints are all over it.
Right.
I get it.
But my point is, it's about the money. And don't ever let Hollywood fool you to believe it's about something else. All of those... Bob Iger right now is trying to make more money, Daddy-O.
Yeah,
like all the rest of them. So that's the kind of irony of my point. Yeah. When I make the G to PG-13, R, NC-17 comparison, if you really want to be in profit, where the hell is one person in Hollywood who's going to be the king of Hollywood to break all this down? I want to know.
Well, it's Disney to a certain degree, right? I mean, Disney dominates the G films as a whole, right?
They probably profit the most from G.
Yeah.
But what I'm trying to figure out is...
But even a lot of their biggest films aren't G-rated films. Like, is Moana G-rated or is it PG?
G. Should be G. I'm going to guess. Maybe PG, but it doesn't... You're making the same point.
No, Moana is a PG-rated film.
Right.
What about Moana 2? Let's take a look.
Now, my question is, how did Moana become PG and not
PG
G?
as well. Yeah, PG
Why
as well.
Why is it PG?
I don't know. Maybe some of the themes are a little mature. I mean, I love the film. Moana is one of my favorite Disney films ever.
I could joust Vlad right now. No, but I understand what you're saying. And listen, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, even Frozen was PG.
Is a great
Wicked
idea.
was PG. Yeah.
Art for art's sake is a great idea.
Yeah.
A vampire movie at Christmas, I think, is designed.
Okay.
It seems to be they scheduled it differently, Vlad.
Yeah, fair enough.
We don't have privacy.
It's not real.
Privacy's not real.
No.
You can get on their phone. You can get into their computer. You can get into their private Google accounts. You can get into their private Apple accounts.
For the federal government and for the intelligence community, there is absolutely zero interest in the average person.
The person who's cheating on their spouse or avoiding $5,000 in taxes or who isn't paying their parking bills. Nobody cares. The federal government doesn't care about that.
I worked on a number of cases where I had to get FISA requests. When you want to collect information or take information from somebody who is an American citizen. Most people complain about, oh, they're targeting American citizens. They're looking at themselves in the mirror and thinking, oh, they're targeting American citizens. They're not thinking about the Chinese person who just came over and naturalized. They're not thinking about the, Iranian who's been here for a long time and naturalized.
The Al-Qaeda member who claimed to be a refugee to get here to get some sort of green card.
Some of those people are doing bad things, and some of those people are our adversaries who have infiltrated the United States and are here to gather intelligence. And so we have to get FISA requests to get the data on them.
Does that mean that you can go into their phone?
You have proven a link. You've given the court enough evidence to say, hey, look, this person's doing something bad and we need to gather more data on them. So it just opens the kind of data that you can get on that person.
And what kind of data is that?
You can get on their phone. You can get into their computer. You can get into their private Google accounts. You can get into their private Apple accounts.
Any
you can
kind
get
of data you can get access to. You can now use it to target them.
And Google would give you the password.
For most cases, if it comes down to national security, American companies will share details. And that's what a FISA request does, is it's a judicial claim. It's a judicial warrant, essentially, to say you will let this service onto that person's account. You're conditioned to believe that you have privacy.
Most people believe that they have a level of privacy that doesn't really exist. I also think that most people don't realize how many threats are around the corner, and that when they think about abuse of power, they're thinking about themselves and their families and their friends. Oh, law-abiding citizens are having their information hacked. That's not the case. I think the American government does a pretty good job of ensuring that evidence is built up to make sure that innocent people aren't being targeted. We're mission focused on protecting the United States of America and its citizens and our national security, and that is a small pool of people that we are really actually looking at, a small pool of dangerous people.
So the reality that we should realize is that we don't have privacy.
It's not real.
Privacy is not real.
No. People put too much confidence in technology and feel too confident in the privacy of technology. There's really nothing private about it. To an extent, yes. But if you think that nobody can ever look at your stuff, that's wrong.
So a doctor's note in sickness is no longer an excused absence for school in Tennessee. They passed a law right before school started that if a nurse sends you home because you're sick, it's considered a tardy for the day. And if you miss a day, even if you have a doctor's note because you're sick, it is now unexcused. And according to lawmakers, it's because they want children to learn that sometimes you need to push through sickness and have a good work ethic so that when they get into the workforce, they know that sickness is not an excuse for not working. And a lot of schools are now making it that students get 20 minutes for lunch. That includes getting to the lunch place, opening your lunch, eating, and getting back to class. 20 minutes. So they're now punishing children for being sick and needing time to eat because they want to create factory workers who won't complain like their parents are. And people claim they care about children, but once they're born, they don't care about them at all.
If you have spare bedrooms in your house or apartment, you may soon be taxed extra for it. This is what lawmakers in Australia are proposing as a radical plan to address their housing and affordability crisis. Now, last week during the country's economic reform roundtable, one of the several proposals that they made would work by disincentivizing or punishing people who have spare bedrooms. For example, if you are a family of 3 but you have 5 bedrooms, you would be taxed extra for those 2 additional bedrooms. And this is because Australia has a bit of a problem. They simply don't have enough homes, which has caused house prices to skyrocket, and since they consistently fall short of their annual target of building 240,000 new houses, they're now being forced to find ways of making space with the houses they've already got. But some people are outraged about this, saying that it's intrusive and that if they have empty bedrooms, it's for guests or storage. They argue that this is an infringement on privacy and freedom and that it's unfair to expense those who have retired. But what do you guys think? Is this going too far, or is it necessary to ensure everyone has a home?
What do you wish every mom knew about raising a young boy into a healthy, conscious man?
I want mothers to know that they don't have to turn their boys into hard men. A lot of moms are like, I don't know how to raise my boy. He doesn't listen to me. I don't know what's happening to him at school. He just shuts down. And I just want them to know that, like, it's really hard to be a boy. There's no section at the bookstore for boys. There's no material for young boys because we just say boys will be boys. Like, we can't change them. There's nothing we can do. They're just going to become who they are. And I just disagree with that completely. I want moms to know that your boy is sensitive and sweet and empathetic. He has all those things, but the world's telling him he's not allowed to be. So the more that a mom can create a safe container, a safe space for that boy to feel all the things he needs to feel without trying to fix him, the more I think that boy will be willing and able to share the things that are happening in his life with her. Because it's really hard to be a mom of a boy. You don't have the life experience of what it's like to go through what we've experienced. It's also really hard, by the way, to grow up and be a girl. It's just hard to be a human being.
Yeah.
Let's just be real. But men and boys don't have a sense of community where we can share about the vulnerable things that happen to us, and so we feel like we're alone.
Daycare is terrible for children. Daycare is anything under the age of 3. Otherwise, we call it preschool. We used to call it nursery school. So anything under the age of 3 where you put your child in group care is daycare. And what it really is, they're day orphanages. You separate a baby who needs skin-to-skin contact, the sound of their mother's voice, her eyes, her physical and emotional presence to soothe that baby when they're in distress from moment to moment, to help to regulate their emotions. So 2 things mothers do. They buffer children from stress, which is so important because the part of their brain that regulates stress is meant to remain offline for the first year and very quietly, slowly come online for the next 2 years. So what are we doing? We're throwing babies into these institutional orphanages. It's overstimulating. It's stressful. If you walk into any daycare, you are going to hear many, many children crying. Children are not meant to cry much in the first year. They're meant to be held by their mothers and held against their mothers' bodies. So they buffer children from stress and they regulate their emotions. So what we're seeing as a mental health crisis is a crisis of emotional regulation issues in children, adolescents, and adults. Depression, anxiety, ADHD, these are all emotional regulation issues. That means people cannot regulate their emotions. And so we're just giving them pills. We're not saying, where does emotional regulation come from? What's the origin of it? And the origin of it is in the very early days of your life. If you had a mother who soothed you when you were in distress from moment to moment, it regulates your emotions. When you go out and you come back as a parent, the reunion is quite important, meaning that moment when you come back together with your child. If your child is forgiving and loving and wants to hug you and has a healthy reunion response, then we say that child's doing generally okay. And maybe we would say that child is securely attached. If when you return, that child turns away from you or turns toward the caregiver that they're with, then we know that that child is probably developing an avoidant attachment disorder. If you come home and that child clings to you as if for their life and cries and clings and can't be soothed for a long time, we say that child is developing an ambivalent attachment disorder and will potentially develop anxiety. If that child, when you come home, turns away, then clings, then slaps you in the face or gets angry at you, and then turns away, and then clings, and kind of cycles through, then we know that they're developing a disorganized attachment disorder.
What's the most dangerous?
The disorganized. Now, the reason it is because the other 2 attachment disorders, the children have a strategy. So say if your mother is an avoidant type, if she's kind of, as I said, schizoid, or you said, what do mothers have to do to leave? They shut off the light switch. If children have that kind of mother that can shut off the light switch, they tend to develop that same disorder themselves. It's called generational transmission of these attachment disorders.
Have y'all seen JD Vance's Instagram account lately? Methinks we might have a new president, because tell me why, when there's all of this speculation about Trump's whereabouts, JD Vance, instead of like assuring the general public that all is well with Trump, he instead starts to phase him out of his social media. And if you don't know what I mean, just check this out. This is JD Vance's Instagram page, right? What do we notice about his page? Here's the reel, the latest reel he's done. Here's another reel. It's all JD Vance, no Trump. You keep scrolling and scrolling. It's more JD Vance, more JD Vance, on top of JD Vance, no Trump, until we get to this post right here. This is that post. It's a reel. And if you look down here, it's postmarked August 7th. That was the last time that Vice President JD Vance posted about Trump on Instagram. Now, why is this a big deal? Because this is out of character for him. He used to post Trump all the time. Let's just take a look at his Instagram account before August 7th. So here's that August 7th post. This is the rest of his feed. You'll see Trump, more Trump, Trump in the Coliseum, more Trump, Trump 3 times in a row. You scroll further down and it's more Trump. I mean, his page is essentially a shrine to Trump, but that changes August 7th. But this is the post that really caught my attention. JD Vance posted this 3 days ago, okay, when all of the questions started happening. And it says, the most important thing the President of the United States can do is put the interests of Americans first. That is what we've been doing for 7 months, and we'll keep on doing it for the next 3.5 years. Vice President JD Vance. Do you see Trump once in that video? No. You see JD Vance over and over again looking very presidential, but you don't see Trump. Then at the very end of the post, he adds one simple sentence that says, President Trump's tax breaks deliver for American workers and families, and includes a little American flag. That's the only mention of Trump in that post. He went from posting an AI-generated image of Trump at the Coliseum a few weeks ago, and now he doesn't even show any images of him. He just includes one little sentence that briefly mentions Trump. I don't know. The math ain't mathin'.
One of the hills that I'm always willing to die on is that I hate the Mandela effect. I think it is a stupid concept for people who would rather recede into a fantasy world than admit that maybe they just remembered something incorrectly. It's people that are in denial that the human brain is malleable and imperfect and would rather start delving into multiverse theory than just admit that maybe their mind created a false memory based on a misunderstanding. And you might say, oh, the Mandela effect is just like a funny joke thing, like it's not serious. But no, there are people who genuinely believe this, and they will get angry if you ever insinuate that it's not real. And there will be people in these comments that will be angry that I'm saying this. But here's the reason why I know the Mandela effect is bullcrap. So the most famous example of it is the whole Berenstain Bears thing, where a lot of people swear that it used to be Berenstain Bears and now it's Berenstain Bears. The reason being, obviously, if you're thinking about it logically, that Berenstain is just a really weird, uncommon name that not a lot of people are familiar with. Berenstein is a much more common, much more normal sounding name. Bernstein is a pretty common name. Steen is a pretty common suffix for last names. So as kids, we just kind of edited it to be the thing that we were more familiar with. And then when confronted with it as an adult, it conflicts with the memory that we've sort of created for ourselves of what it's supposed to be. And I've experienced modern versions of this. So I used to work at a movie theater. And if you work at a movie theater, you become very common with this phenomenon where people will call movies the wrong names. It's very common, and a lot of them are just kind of goofy.
You guys hear about those fires in Chile?
Yeah.
It happened in Vina del Mar, eerily similar to what happened in Maui. So you know how they're talking about
Lahaina
becoming the first city in Hawaii to be a smart city? Vina del Mar was the headquarters of smart city business for Chile.
No way.
But these fires, same scenario, high winds, and there was no warning. A lot of people died. And I saw a video today of this dude who was going through the wreckage of outskirt of
Lahaina,
and there was a blue house house completely unburned.
No way.
And I don't know if you've heard about this whole thing with the conspiracy of the DEW, the direct energy weapon, but lasers cannot burn the color blue. So in Hawaii, basically like everything was just like burnt to a crisp. Like cars were like melted, yet there was like just blue umbrellas. Anything blue was not burned. There's like all these cars that were melted, and then there's a blue car not melted.
I have family who like was walking through the area, and they literally said their warehouse is green and blue. All the green ones are scorched. All the blue ones are still standing and fine.
20 years ago, it started in San Francisco. Just a bunch of hippies just chilling, taking psychedelics, kind of rebelling a little bit against the government, wanting to be free and create something that wasn't about the money. And it still really isn't about the money. They don't have vendors and stuff, but obviously they need to make a living. They found the space in Black Rock where they created this relationship with the town. Because what they do there, it's kind of mayhem. People are like hanging off the stages, doing flips and stuff. This shit wouldn't fly in like a normal metropolitan area. The relationships that they have with Reno and Black Rock City, that's been built over 20 plus years. It formed over time through relationships, the ethos of like their principles and all that. And then obviously, you know, Black Rock City makes a decent amount of bread from the ticket sales.
The United States government is lying to us about the population of black people in this country. The demographics, false. The census, false. And nobody can convince me otherwise. And here's why I think that, and I'm 100% sure of this. So boom. How are you going to say that black people only make up 13% of this country when they were being forcibly taken from where they were and brought over here in droves? Now we know they all did not make the journey, but still, they went out of their way to go get these people, to enslave them, bring them here in unheard of numbers. Again, for centuries, they were doing this. Okay, then they got here. They were being forcibly bred so that they could reproduce and repopulate the workforce. Again, for centuries, they're being bred so that they could be workers. Okay. Then number 3, enslaved people started to outnumber them so bad in the South, they was like, you know what? We're going to let y'all count 3/5 of them. Y'all were outnumbered so bad, y'all were like, we need to pad our numbers in the eyes of the government. So let's add these. And you mean to tell me that to this day, after all that has gone on for centuries, right? And then we as black people continue to move forward, repopulate and everything, and we're only 13%? Yeah, right. They don't want black people to know how much we make up this country, that we're probably more equal, possibly even outnumbering. Okay, let's be honest. They don't want us to know that. And then if you think about it, the places where black people live generally is more urban areas. So we are in areas that are more densely populated. So you mean to tell me that all of these huge, densely populated pockets of black people is still being outnumbered by these white people sparsely thrown around in these remote areas where the population is so much lower? I'm not convinced. I will never be convinced.
Brothers. It sounds like a perfect example of the math ain't mathing. And number 2, they keep saying minority, 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 minority. They're trying to convince themselves. That's all.
Listen to me. Listen very clearly. Marriage, contrary to popular belief, is not just about love. It's a business contract. God forbid you allow the government to create that goddamn contract. You heard? In this country, the contract is structured in a way where usually, more often than not, especially through the longer ladder, right, the tangible things that men are tasked with, even in modern society today, to build, it is the highest cost to us when it fails. If you choose marriage, go in with your eyes wide the hell open. You must understand her nature, but also you must understand your own nature, and not have it be created or crafted or lied to you about by the media, feminism, right? Marketing of these big brands and these advertisers, or even the goddamn government, all right? Have a prenup. Always, always, always. Build yourself up first so that you're not negotiating right, from a place of weakness. Because once you sign those papers, it's not about just love anymore, all right, although you feel it's that way. It's about the contract, baby. It's about the law. Love is never, has never, will never be enough to shield you from reality, all right?
What is the true alien invasion? The true alien invasion is actually the parasites in the body. The propagation of the Food and Drug Administration is what creates these parasitical entities inside your physiology. And these parasitical entities is tether connected to the moon that's being controlled by archonic forces. So the archons control people by way of frequency because the moon is actually a quantum satellite. That's why in a full moon, a lot of people, their parasites start to basically unravel and they start to discombobulate in their system, in their genetic format. The frequencies from the moon that's being controlled by the archonic forces, this is how they control people. Great majority of these parasites have the ability to replicate themselves through the Toxoplasma gondii. And the Toxoplasma gondii is how they connect themselves to the reptilian cortex of the brain to where you're operating from a place of fight or flight. So you're not existing, you're surviving in a system that is built on illusions. A lot of people, they have an emotional connection to everything in the third dimension because the emotional connection is the biochemicalization that's coming from the genetically modified foods that's feeding the parasites. So the parasites is making you emotionally connected to the system. So the real alien invasion is really the parasites that's infiltrating the body that's being controlled by archonic forces in the lower fourth dimension when you're talking about the demiurge.
The only thing we ever bought at the grocery store really was flour, coffee, sugar. And didn't buy a lot of sugar because we had beehives and we used honey to sweeten stuff instead of sugar. And my granddad had a grist mill and he made his own cornmeal, but you had to buy flour. But kind of rough back then. And nobody ate beef back then because cows were precious because you got your milk and your butter, and your buttermilk is well as sweet milk and butter from a cow, but everybody ate pork. Didn't pork or fish. Because the river was nearby, everybody fished. And then chickens. Yeah.
Kid Cudi has come out and said that drugs led him to the basement of hell. Check out this clip.
I do cocaine, don't do Molly, don't do meth, don't do heroin. You shouldn't try any of that shit. And it's gonna make you miserable. You're gonna be a shitty person. It's gonna f your creativity. It's gonna f with everything about your mental. This is the first time anybody's asked me what type of guidance I would give about drugs. There's no happy ending to that story. It'll just pull you down to the darkness, to hell. Literally, you will be at the basement of hell. And that's where I was for years, in the basement of hell. Living there, maintaining, damaged and tortured. And that's what drugs will do to you. Even if you stop. That's how I relapsed. There was still a little voice in the back of my head that I was like, come on, let's try it again. Just take it easy this time, but let's try again. Once you let that demon in, he will make a home in your mind and will wait there. So young kids, if you're watching this, like, take it from the rager, steer clear, because life ain't that bad. You don't have to do hardcore drugs.
I think I never heard you being so vocal about that.
Nobody's ever asked me about that.
When a demon enters your mind, he will live there. That was deep. That was biblical. I don't even think he knows that. But it's so true, ladies and gentlemen. Drugs will destroy you. It may start off small, but then it continues to grow and grow and grow. That lets you know that it's spiritual. It may start off where you have control of it, but sooner or later it gets control of you. That lets you know it's spiritual. However, if you're in a space where it's in control of you right now, there is someone who can give you the key for you to be released, for you to come into liberty. There is someone who can give you the key for you to have authority, for you to have dominion, and that is Christ. Call out to the Lord Jesus Christ for you to be free.
Have you guys heard of the Labubu toys?
Yes, I have.
They look like that thing from Star Wars.
They're called Mischievous Forest Elf, and they live in the land of the monsters.
So it's
And-
just kids' toys.
Yeah, but some people are making the connection that Labubu and the way it looks and sounds just like this king of the demons from the Babylonian era called Pazuzu.
Scary.
And this whole theory of just like basically this whole play on Pazuzu, who's the king of the demons, and then you have Labubu, who is like has a lot of features that look like Pazuzu and lives in the land of monsters. It's like a mischievous forest elf, and it does like these weird things. Like it has like these powers and like
The Simpsons connection.
yeah, the Pazuzu.
Yeah.
But it basically he ordered it on like Amazon or something as like a toy, gave it to the baby.
That's
and
a
then-
weird connection.
Yeah, this was like
That's-
7
that's-
years ago too that this came out.
Yeah, that's a weird connection.
And then it was like demon possessed. The baby was demon possessed, and then like Labubu Pazuzu.
Yeah.
Okay, come on. All right, so here I am at Walmart, right? We got 16.5 cents per ounce, and it's 16 ounces. So if you do 16.5 times 16, you get 264, which is the price, right? But if you come down here and you see it's 3 pounds, so you got 3 times 16 equals 48, so 48 ounces. And if you do 48 ounces times 13.1, it's $6.28.8 cents. You know, you got to move the decimal.
10.46.
But it's 10.46.
That is crazy, man.
Yeah.
Snoop Dogg's paperwork right here. Snoop Dogg's paperwork for everyone to see. Everybody to see. Snoop Dogg's paperwork.
If you get a guy that constantly getting in trouble and never gonna come to prison, that's because he's an informant, he's a rat, a snitch.
Yeah.
You know, and they more important to the police on the streets than in here, because they let them know what's going on. They might save their soul by telling on 3 or 4 or 5 other guys do those type of crimes. They're not gonna come to prison. One of the reasons they're not gonna come.
Like Snoop.
Well, Snoop will never come.
But here's the police report. Y'all study this police report real well from the LA Sheriff County Police Department. It's all Dash ran, holler, they got gun, they got a gun. And they said that they ran to the area in the police report.
Mr. Brodus was extremely cooperative during the incident and in fact said that he was thankful that the deputies had been there, as he felt that the assault was intended as an act of intimidation. Mr. Brodus also said that he felt Mr. Arnaud was in danger as he's still under contract to Death Row Records. During the discussion, I said that I knew Tupac Shakur. Mr. Brodus responded by saying that is the man sitting next to Tupac. I asked if he meant Suge Knight. He replied affirmatively. Mr. Brodus also said that he was upset that his bodyguards disappeared and did not assist him.
That's because he's an informant, he's a rat, a snitch. Yeah. You know, and they more important to the police on the streets than in here, because they let them know what's going on. They might save their soul by telling on 3 or 4 or 5 other guys.
One of my viewers did make the point that a missing child is a lot more difficult to find if they're misgendered. I cannot get it off my mind now. I originally was bringing attention to this photo because I was like, what are all of these grown ASS men doing with these little girls? There's no female around, although Ghislaine Maxwell did prove that a female is no safety net. I mean, but still, and I had immediately people commenting saying, those aren't little girls. Then I started looking closer at the photo. And look, this is all theory, guys. This is from Alame Photos or Getty Images, one or the other. And I'm really not trying to like exploit these children. This is an old photo, and I really don't know if they're boys or girls. And who cares? Aside from the part that they could be missing children, they could be. And one of the things that they said to look for is the foot direction and the collarbones, and I can't unsee it. Please don't come for me, internet. I'm really not trying to exploit these kids. I just cannot unsee it. And if you say a missing girl is actually a boy in an orphanage, they might be overlooked. This is from Mother Teresa's orphanage, by the way, guys. That was later, one of the orphanages was later raided because they were facilitating illegal adoptions. Were they also misgendering children?
So that teacher who got on this app and sounded the alarm about how they were taking children with autism, IEPs, ADHD, anything that caused them to be prohibited from learning at any aspect in elementary school, taking them out of the class and putting them into an alternative school because they were going to be deemed as unable to learn. It turns out she was telling the truth, as Tennessee just came out with a statement as well as a new law that says that this is legal now. So when I got on this app and told you that they were in danger, it turns out the danger is a lot sooner than anyone could have expected, as Tennessee just issued a full statement and law saying that they will begin to remove children that are struggling in elementary school under 4th grade, and they will be taken out of this environment and placed into an alternative school to just learn basic life skills and not receive a high school diploma. So yes, the Tennessee Board of Education is now passing a new rule that allows students with disability to be removed from class. And they can be removed more quickly than prior. On Friday, they approved an amended state rule allowing schools to temporarily remove students to an environment such as special education classrooms or even into an alternative school before a formal behavioral assessment is completed or even started. So, a student's individual education program team would have to make the decision to move a student into a more restricted environment. That was prior. Now, that is not what the case is. They can literally a teacher has to make the call to move the individual child out of the classroom, and they can do it as soon as they want to. Instead of a last resort, it is now a first resort to remove children with disabilities from the classroom and place them in these separate classes, alienating them because they're not able to learn in the environment that they're in, or it could just be the teacher doesn't have enough patience. As someone who is going through this right now, and I'm not even in Tennessee, I am in Indiana, after my child's first day of school who has autism, they were trying to remove her from the class and put her in special education simply because she did not know them and would not communicate. This is not okay. And for it to be implemented by a school board and not even a fucking state official, honestly, should be alarming for everyone. There is no way in the hell that we are removing students from the classroom before they can have an educated team assess their behavioral disability or their learning disability if they have one. And this is going to affect our Black and brown children, as well as all children with disabilities or all of our little COVID babies that are not really open or receptive to the world right now. If you voted for this, if you allowed this to happen under this new administration, I no longer will ever associate with you or anyone that associates with you either. Because this is a form of alienation. It will set children back. I can't even tell you what I did in elementary school, but they won't be able to get a fucking high school diploma. That is literally the prison to fucking school pipeline in your face. It's disgraceful. I'm disgusted.
How you feel about Drake?
What she said, school to prison pipeline. It is targeted towards probably minorities for the most part. First off, the school systems, are they really teaching kids? Or, what's that bodycon teacher? She's distracting the kids. If you make a teacher mad, she might just go ahead and send you over to the alternative thing. I had a college professor once. I had a question. It wasn't questioning her. It was a question. And from that moment on, I got D's until I went to her office and asked, hey, I killed it on this paper. Why would I have a D? Ethics class. She said she didn't like the fact that I asked a question. She thought I questioned her. And she was going to fail me. She told me to my face, you will not pass this class. She said that in order to graduate, I had to have that class. It was community college. And she didn't retire until 2011. It was 2003 at that point. So I just went on and left the school and went to a 4-year and got my degree, my 4-year degree, instead of the whack 2-year degree. Because I wasn't going to let her hold me back. I have to wait till 2011 till her crazy butt decides to retire. And it topped that. I became an adjunct professor. Went back to that same place of learning and was an instructor right alongside her. I didn't say anything about it because that was her cross to bear. The fact that she did what she did, she knew what she was doing, she knew what she was saying, and she was purposely going to hold me back. I surpassed her. I hope you enjoyed your retirement. I was there before 2011, standing next to you. Who knows where you are now, and who knows where you're going to end up for being the EVIL person that you were. because I wasn't questioning you. I had a question on the first day of class. I'm not allowed to have a question. Go on with your bad self. Back to the video.
Buying Pac death row chain.
Well, I'm quite sure it's not true. It's not a death row chain. I gave one to Snoop at first, and Snoop felt that that death row chain is going to cause too much controversy. He said he ain't trying to be squabbling up or running. So I made him a dog paw chain. And if you notice on that picture when we all had on black, you'll see Snoop wearing the dog paw. Dog Pound didn't even have death row chains. I made them dog paws. But when I got Pac out, he came home and we was going somewhere at the time. He said, "Oh, they all got those death row chains." I'm like, "Shit, I'm gonna make you one." He was like, "Shit, you my big bro. Let me wear yours. That's more important. I don't want a first one. I want to wear the one you got." So my death row chain at the time was full of diamonds on the chain and full of diamonds on the bezel. Pac came home and got that chain. On the back it wasn't nothing. It's sort of weird that everybody want to rewrite history. But if Drake really trying to do something out of Tupac, he should get at a who really f with Tupac all the time, still today. Stop those weirdos who was jealous and hating on Tupac. It had something to do with his downfall. When it's all said and done, that's not a Tupac chain. Whoever sold you that chain, Drake, you need to go beat his ass. He played you.
Something incredibly weird's going on. The more you watch this video, the crazier it's gonna get. Because this guy right up there has been missing for about 6 days now. That thing, and of course there's no interviews, no TV interviews, no spottings, whatever, but it gets weirder. Because people keep posting pictures they claim are certain things, and it actually turns out the pictures were a while ago. So why is this happening? Sorry, 3 times. They're claiming that this is him as well. Does it not remind you of the royal family? We're about to get into it. I just think it's insane that in today's time, we have situations like this where we don't know where people are who run the country. So if you know me, you know I like to do photo forensics. This is the picture of him claiming to be spotted today in Virginia. First thing to note, that floor is from Mar-a-Lago, not Virginia. Second, all AI processors said it was not an AI image. But look how just dark the lines are, especially on that mirror. That up there is what it's supposed to look like when it's an actual image. It's supposed to be natural and faint lines, not dark ones. I mean, honestly, that's kind of pointless. I could have showed you this first. Because the metadata of this image shows that the base layer of the image was 2022. Now you'll say, oh, that's not Trump from 2022. We know that. The base layer of a CGI photo, meaning the base layer, the background, whatever they used first to put over new pictures was 2022. It was also edited on an Apple computer. They're like, oh, he was spotted. And enhanced, that just does not look like him. And by the way, I'm making no allegations here. TikTok. Now Grok claims the picture is from May 29th, 2024. But the weird part, the image will not show up anywhere online besides just a few hours ago. So what's Grok talking about? Grok is probably noticing one of the elements or the pieces of the picture and is claiming that's the whole picture. But again, in what world is this kind of stuff necessary? Surely he could just make a video and say, here I am, it's me. It's just really weird. He had just posted this on his account, or maybe somebody else posted it on his account, unrelated, and completely unrelated. Again, 1000%, we had him just come out and saying that he could take over. And then this again. Hey, if you're watching this on TikTok, you better go watch the rest on the red play button, the blue button, or the IG platform, because get banned TikTok.
That image did not look like that man that we know as the leader of these here United States. He did not look like him. Anytime that particular person wears his red hat, his hair is sticking out of the back. Did he shave his head this week or the past 6 days or however long it's been? Who knows? But that guy did not look like the energetic, orange-haired person that we're used to. What they call that, clone? Oh, back to the video.
A video of someone talking about Walmart, how they're going to be putting 10,000 Kelvin lights in their stores, and how those are the lights that are not even in the natural blue like light spectrum, and they're artificial, and they're made to make you feel more anxious, and that it triggers your amygdala so you can't make logical decisions, so you shop faster and you just put things in your cart without really thinking about it. And when I say that, I don't think people really understand, like, as someone who's worked in marketing, worked in sales, like, I keep telling y'all do not know the level of manipulation that is being done to you on a daily basis. And when I say a lot of this shit is like literally like they're casting spells, them putting like, that's like casting a fucking spell on you. Like, yes, there's scientific explanations, but at the very basis, they are using different like physical things to manipulate your psyche. That is what spell work is. Like, I feel like y'all really do not know the level that y'all are being manipulated. Like, Walmart has always been very uncomfortable for me. I hate it. I've always been in and out. And like, I'm going to Google before I post this. If it's posted, then it means it's true, right? If that they're actually doing this. But it's like, what the fuck, bro? Definitely use this. If you watch this, definitely use this as a moment to reflect and think about all the other ways that you are being subconsciously manipulated in your daily life, and how capitalism breeds that to happen. You stay blessed, though.
Pretty sure a lot of schools do this, but our school, every year we would have the magazine sale. A lot of schools do, like, kids have to go like to their neighbor's house and like sell it. I was just thinking, how is that legal? Like, it's literally potentially multi-million-dollar company. They go into schools and they get free labor from children.
And do you remember like the kickoff event for that thing? That was best thing,
the coolest thing ever.
What was it?
We would have chapel every day at this school, and we would walk in, and there's just toys, inflatables.
It's like Willy Wonka.
Come on in.
So it's just a play day.
Oh yeah.
And like, but he would like give out toys here and there to like random kids. And you're like, you could win this 50 magazine subscriptions. You're like,
yeah,
I
you're
just
like,
have to
you're
sell
like
now.
You're like in your imagination, you're like, that's gonna be mine.
Yeah.
He's like calling people up on stage. You're like, it's like an interactive thing, and you're like, I have to go sell magazines now.
First graders are just walking down the street like with this big old paper envelope. You had to fill out a pink slip as a child. The neighbor would hand you cash or check, and so you come into school with a sack of cash and be like, here you go, here's $500. And they're like, here's a yo-yo. You're like, yes, I worked for 12 hours.
Well, guys, that's the end of the video. Thank you for joining T. Escobar Reacts. That's a lot to unpack. Wow. This world is a crazy place. And obviously, it seems like it's very demonic. I wish this wasn't happening, but God will prevail. God has a plan. Thank you. Please like, subscribe, hit the notifications button. Come back and join me for my next video. And as I always say, please, 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 don't forget me now. See you next time. Bye.